Jeez, I guess you done?
If you be quiet, we give you sausage roll.
So welcome to the Laura and Benny show.
Thank you for having me here.
And thank you for driving all the way up from Clorglen. In fairness, it's not a small
I'm telling
spin.
you, we're big in Clorglen.
We're big in Clorglen.
Here, huge in Clorglen. Everybody knows Laura and Benny in Clorglen.
But we've got Helen from Pristine Classics Occasions. The most beautiful cars we've ever seen, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We only had you guys doing a wedding with us, not last weekend, the weekend before.
That's right.
But it wasn't. And I'm going to go straight into this.
You're going
I'm
straight
going to
there.
go
You're
straight into this.
straight into the goods.
Because I'm afraid that we'll get distracted on like other conversations and I won't get a chance
What, like
to
going
mention
for a
it.
swim, cooking this morning, everything?
All of those nice
The
things.
smell of those sausage rolls now that you baked this morning. I just threw these together, Laura. Here's some
It's very
homemade
simple.
sausage
I'll give everyone the
rolls.
recipe if they need it.
Smell though, I actually feel like I'll be like, you'll
Yeah.
be talking about that just in the background.
Let me just
Shoving
have a
my
little
face,
nibble.
Little nibble. But,
I don't know how they made it up from Clark and it's still there and you didn't eat them.
I don't know how they made them
Smell
out
of
in
the
my
car.
house, to be
Yeah.
perfectly honest with you, because the smell would have everybody up.
we
in
might
the
have to
house.
do a part 2 that she brings back some more.
Yeah, exactly. Vegetarian ones.
Oh yes.
Yeah. But we did a wedding together, not last weekend, the weekend before for Niamh and Matt.
That's right.
And I want to bring this up because we've seen your cars loads and we've had like Con driving the cars and you know that you kind of get the driver and the couple are in the back seat and they're being chauffeured everywhere
Yeah.
and that was going on that day.
That's right.
But there was also a second option and we haven't had this with you before. But
That's
like,
right.
I got overly excited because the photo opportunities were just amazing.
Oh, insane.
Like amazing. So they were able to hire a car that they were able to drive themselves. So the groom was like behind the steering wheel after the ceremony and they drove from the church into Killarney, got some photos of the car and then drove to the venue. And it was just, because I actually haven't had a car company who've been able to like hire a car where the couple could actually get in and drive themselves.
Yeah, that's right. So I suppose it's a second option for people because I feel it gives them more time.
Yes.
It gives them the opportunity to spend time with each other after the ceremony.
Yeah.
Because
It is a
you
big
know
time, a
yourself,
big thing, yeah.
they have very little time for each
so
other once they
little.
get to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
reception because it's the meal and you're chatting with people. Whereas this is the perfect opportunity. Like I probably mentioned it before, but it's not only the fact that it's a real unique experience. You are only going to do it once. Well, you can do it as many times as you want, but you know.
The plan is one.
Yeah, the plan is once,
Yeah,
ideally.
yeah.
But I suppose people, and the feedback that we've been getting from couples is the fact that, and this has been mentioned a couple of times, that they had the opportunity to be able to spend that time with each other with the drive from the church to the venue with taking photographs. So they got time to catch up and talk about the ceremony and take the most amazing pictures. Because every time a car goes out, and when I see pictures afterwards, I get really emotional. I don't know what it is. I can't actually describe it. I feel like I've been part of the day, even though I haven't been there, but seeing the pictures is just like, oh, wow. Like,
It's brilliant and that you had a little bit of input. But you're right, it is different. It's different when you're in any car, even if it's like a taxi or if there's a chauffeur or whatever the situation is, it's not the same as being in a car alone together.
Totally
and then you're in a special car alone together. That's totally unique. So the energy's up from like just coming out of the ceremony.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of buzzing and now you're in this kind of, it is the novelty or the rare experience of being in this different car. Like it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I suppose what a lot of people have mentioned as well is, you know, they're either driving through a town or a village and they said two couples have remarked they actually felt like celebrities inside in the car, which is lovely.
though.
So you're there and you're waving and you're like,
But everyone gets really excited because they realise it's a bride and groom or a couple in the car and it's kind of like, especially with the tourists around kind of down Kerry area where you would do a lot of weddings, there'd be loads of tourists in the summer. They get so excited, everyone's beating the horns and they're waving, getting the phones out to get their own photos. Yeah, but even leaving the church on the last wedding we did where they had the car, so they had it was beautiful afterwards actually as well because you know, in fairness, like the two cars lined up perfectly outside the door, so when they came out all the guests hadn't seen the cars at all because they would have been inside.
That's right.
It was such a surprise for the guests as
because
well.
we actually, so what we normally do with that is because sometimes they want to, it's almost that element of surprise. not only for the couple, even though obviously they've hired it,
Yeah.
but for the guests coming out of the church, it's like, oh, where did this come out of, you know?
Yeah.
So what we do is we park the car for them outside the church door. So the car is ready for them when they come out of the ceremony, and all they're doing is driving off, because a lot of people have done their test drive kind of prior to that.
Yeah.
So they're familiar with the car, you know, so that's kind of nice too as well. And it takes the pressure off the groom a little bit too as well, that he's not sitting into something that he's unfamiliar with.
Yeah,
That was my next
yeah,
question.
Yeah. Sorry, I eased into that already.
But no,
Because I did think they're very brave just letting people off in the car. I mean, if I was given that car, I probably wouldn't behave myself.
You're like, how does this work? How do
Yeah.
windows go down?
But no, one of the big things we were talking about on the phone was you were kind of like, you're very much support orientated, whereby, and the way I kind of put it was, listen, you're not hiring like from a big kind of rental car company,
No.
like this totally different, like, so it is unique that you're going into like a classic vintage car. So a manual car is one thing, and then a classic vintage kind of manual car is like a different ball game, all tweaks and all the different kind of nuances of it. And then it's like, so one of the things is like, you really put across that like you support people and you show them. So when they come in and see you beforehand, you do a little test drive with them, you show them all the nuances of the car and give them a chance to get comfortable. And that's huge on the day, because you don't want to try work out how to get the car going on the day. Like,
you don't. And I suppose we give them lots of opportunities. So if somebody's booking a car, it doesn't matter. If somebody was booking a car tomorrow, I'd be like, do you want to come back and test drive it today?
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of way.
Great.
So it's not about like,
by the hour or by the day, or you came in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Okay, so most of our couples may book in advance, but that's not... Some don't, some do.
They might get a spur of the moment idea.
Spur of the moment.
Let's get one we can drive ourselves.
And the chances are of us having availability lastminute.com, I'd be very confident saying we would always have something for you. We would always have something in terms of the self-drive, 100%, because we've got a huger fleet of that.
Okay.
So we've got about maybe 6 cars, but we're always adding...
Okay,
Yeah.
6 self-drive cars.
We've got 6. I could be lying there now. I'll have to go on the website and double check that again.
But the website you were showing...
There's a variety.
There's a variety.
For the car heads,
Maybe
right,
I
for the
shouldn't
cars
tie
that-
myself down to a number.
We'll drop a few names, because the car heads would be like, oh yeah, no, if they have something like that, we'll get it right. So on the website, the 4 examples that you have on the website is like an Alfa Romeo, so that's 1964. I think we saw the MG how do you say that?
Midget.
Midget. I didn't want to say MG.
It sounds like an insult to the car,
I'm
but
telling
it
you,
does.
we wouldn't get away with naming it an MG
But it's
Midget
small.
now.
Yeah, it's a small car.
It was actually hilarious seeing the bride getting in and out, and then
so low
she
to
was
the
so
ground.
low down.
Yeah.
But then she was like, "It's so cool, like, because it's so
It is,
tight."
and it's so, they're actually so spacious on the inside, but people
are.
don't actually realise that, because they look at it aesthetically on the website and you're kind of thinking, geez, that looks really small. So oftentimes we will get questions like, will I fit into that car because I'm 6 foot, blah, blah, blah.
Yes,
whatever.
exactly, yeah.
And my dress is 3 the size of me.
The answer is yes and yes.
Okay.
But when in doubt, I would always say to people, I love meeting people. I love seeing couples coming into the office and seeing the cars for the first time. So we do offer them the opportunity. Come see the cars. Come take a test drive in the car. So we get to take you up to Ross Bay Beach and you can drive back down again. So they're actually sitting into the driver's seat.
Brilliant.
And we have one of the boys, or I've just started to do it recently myself, which I'm still a bit kind of going, I know how to drive the cars, but I still feel a little bit more...
I would be
The
so
confidence
excited,
and
Helen,
responsibility.
if I saw you arriving to the bride's morning or the groom's morning, but behind the steering wheel, I'm like, yes, it's Helen.
car.
And will you wear a jacket just like this, Sophie?
I will, absolutely.
I think you
I
belong like on the pit of Formula 1, like you look like you're there strolling up and down, interviewing the lads.
That's actually a good book.
Can you imagine it? Oh my God.
But
keep
go
going.
on. So right, the politically correct MG midget.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Correct.
We'll forgive it in green. There's a Mercedes 74 SL.
Yeah.
And an Austin Healey, which looks savage, like 1963. But then you've a few more. But like we can give a shout out to the lads.
So Florian and Leon are over.
But they seem like they're just mad car heads. So like when you said they're constantly adding stuff, it's like they're probably the type of lads who can't resist picking up something.
Like, so the business started like 15 years ago or more, and it was a passion of theirs. So Leon, from when he was very young, was interested in cars, Florian's son.
Yeah.
So that's how it started out. And then they started buying 1 or 2 cars, and then they started restoring the cars. So literally they'd get a car from a shell and completely restore it for customers. So that's their side of the business.
Okay.
And then
I want to give a shout out to that, because there are car heads and lads are probably going to go, oh, have a look at that. That's you. But like, you can kind of see from them, like, they're into their sales and restoration. So if someone like has an idea, or they're like, I'd always love to fix up something, the lads would probably help them out and give them so much experience, wouldn't they?
Yeah, 100%. They've restored quite a few cars now at this point in the 15 years. Now, the thing about restorations, you cannot put a time frame on it.
Big time,
Parts are very difficult to get in into that. They are.
Well, yes and no. They're great at sourcing things.
Okay.
But I suppose once you start, it's like in a house. Once you start stripping it back, then you realise something else has to be done.
Oh yeah, it's when you look underneath, you're kind of thinking, yes, there's a little bit more work involved.
But they have, so that is what you were saying, was that's a side business. Pristine Classics, if any big car heads or anybody's mad into it, go have a look. It's brilliant.
If they're interested in parts, nuts and bolts, putting things together, and just the general engineering of cars, it's definitely one for them to follow the boys in what they do in the background, because what they do is actually phenomenal.
Manly stuff.
Manly car stuff. Yeah. I get involved every once in a while.
Hold that torch there, Helen.
Yeah.
So then the spin-off was, we have all these fancy cars, what are we going to do with them? And then I presume occasions came out of that, whereby let's offer the chauffeur and so on.
Exactly. So I suppose there is certain cars that are just specifically for sale, because the value in them is astronomical.
Couldn't put them on the road.
No, you couldn't. There isn't a hope you could put them on the road. So then that's where Pristine Classics Occasions came out of, because I suppose we knew there was a massive niche in the market.
Huge.
Yeah.
Not only for chauffeur-driven car hire, but self-drive classic car hire.
Yeah.
So there was nobody in Munster doing it.
Well, I haven't. You're the only ones I'm sure there is other people out there that are doing something similar to it, but you're the only ones we've come across.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of weddings. There was a self-drive.
Well, I suppose the only in this, I do have to give a shout out to Bernard in Courtyard Classics.
Okay.
He's they're another company that are based in Leinster.
Okay.
So they
do they self-drive as well?
They do self-drive as well.
Yeah.
So we initially had gone into partnership with Bernard on the backdrop. It was very difficult to secure insurance for us originally. But now we have that, so we can offer it to people.
Insurance for self-drive vintage cars must be.
It was
fun times, I'd say.
It was very fun. It was difficult to secure, but we have it now, and we're delighted to say, because I suppose people have a lot of questions when it comes to self-drive classic car hire. I suppose the main thing for them to remember is that they're insured. Because they're insured under us. So they don't have to take their own insurance out, or they don't have to transfer insurance.
So for the couple, all they really have to do is contact you, book the self-drive. I'm assuming have a full driving license.
Yes.
Full clean driving license.
That would be ideal.
But they don't have to worry about transferring insurance temporarily. As if you were, getting your car serviced, you would do that for a temporary car drive, or you look after that.
We look after all that side of things.
Yeah.
And I suppose the thing that I mentioned to Benny as well, we try and make the process of hiring a car for a couple really simple and easy, because we know that we appreciate there's a lot of stress involved in organising the wedding. They're like, listen, I don't want to be dealing with that. So what I always say to them, listen, all it is a tiny piece of paperwork you have to fill out. And in terms of, I suppose, drop-offs and collections, we can supply that service to the couple as well. Because oftentimes they'll say, oh, geez, I don't have time to pick the wedding, the car.
It's a huge thing, though. So people understand. They can either come down and collect it, say, and take it away for a few days, or whatever their deal is in terms of that. But then you also have you'll drop it off, but you'll also collect it because I mean, people are having their day 2. They don't have time to be dropping a car back.
I wouldn't even dream of dropping a car off the next day. I'd be like, nah, listen.
No, but it was great
But
because
it's
they
not
literally
huge,
they pulled up outside the Great Southern. We took a picture and they literally just walked away from it, and Con was there to organise it afterwards. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
And that's one thing that we do say to them, because when they're finished with the car, what we say to them, you don't have to meet anybody. All you simply do is, if there wasn't somebody within the vicinity, we speak to the hotel. You take the keys out of the car, you hand them in at reception. We don't have to meet the bride or groom or any other member of
so
the
there's no
wedding
major
party.
hoopla of I must go down and meet so and so.
That's amazing.
The only time you meet us, of course, you can meet us as many times as you want. You can take the car.
You're gonna have lads coming in. Oh, we'll just go down and check on the car one more time. We'll be down every second weekend. See the car fleet. You'll have all sorts of lads coming in now.
So, but our office is open to anybody that wants to come in and take.
Helen.
I know.
You'll go home to be a queue at the door.
But it is great. So they just, like you were saying, they only have to meet you is to organise it, to make the choice probably, do the paperwork, and then on the day it's so smooth.
So smooth. So everything is done in advance. But as I said, whether you're booking 12 months in advance or 2 days in advance, we still make it really, really simple. The paperwork is sent. There's very clear instructions of what to do. It's very simple, very straightforward. And I also give them the option, because not everybody, and we have to appreciate it sometimes, that not everybody likes email or responding by email. So if they're like, oh God, how do I send this paperwork back now? You can take a picture of it and send it back by WhatsApp. Which is very simple. So all we need really is just
a copy of the documentation.
That's it. And all it takes is 5 minutes out of your day to do it. That's literally it.
Definitely worth it for a self-drive car in your wedding day.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
And do you, with the cars in general, between the self-drive and then the actual chauffeur-driven ones, so can people actually pick the specific car that they want on their day, or are they kind of like, is it whatever's available at the time? I suppose whatever's running, because things maintenance and all those kind of things.
So I suppose it's very much in terms of what is available.
Sure.
But they can do, so I created this package, which, so I suppose our website, our new website is relatively new, and it's something that we will be putting up there, but couples have done it in the past, whereby they have the chauffeur-driven option to the church, as like Niamh and Matthew did the other day. So she was driven in the church in the chauffeur-driven car with Con and her dad.
That's right.
And then they had the self-drive waiting for them after the church, where they took off together. So that's what we call our duo package.
Lovely.
So you're getting both experiences in one day. And so I suppose just to mention as well, if people are booking 2 cars, the beauty of us is if they're hiring any 2 of our cars, we do offer a 7.5% discount.
Brilliant. That's great.
So maybe it's in a little bit more
and then it's like, and we always joke about mum gets left behind or the bridesmaids. So when we're doing the call, we're like, well, think about, listen, you've 4 bridesmaids, like, well, who's bringing them? And they're like, oh yeah. And then the joke is always that mum jumps in Laura's car. Because everybody goes, so I'm pushing for mum's allowed to go into the vintage car to the church, like, but that's kind of our in joke. But the thing is, the chauffeur car then, it can be used after the church, whether it's for parents that you want to give them a spin, or it's the girls, they can give them a spin, or whoever it is. It's like that's there where somebody else gets the experience as well.
That's the beauty of it, actually, because I would always say to somebody, listen, when the car has gone out, it's gone out for the day in our eyes. And I'm saying to them, listen, just utilise it as much as you want. Take the parents of the bride or the groom, take the bridesmaids, utilise it in some way, shape or form, because I think sometimes you might look at it in the smaller picture, it's only taking the bride and groom to the church and then you're finished with it. Technically not. The driver is yours for as long as you want him, until you're completely finished.
I'm sure the parents are grand. They would love to rock up to the hotel in this fancy car, like they would eat it up, and they wouldn't expect it.
No.
Like because it's all about like going to the church or going to the ceremony and then going to the hotel for the bride and groom. Nobody thinks about like beyond that. So like people wouldn't expect it if the parents get a spin or if grandparents get a spin. I just could imagine like a grandparent really loving that. Like.
Yeah, no, totally. And it's a really good point people was like, because I think there can be a slight bit of confusion sometimes when it comes to hiring a car. Well, like they're not too sure how long they have it for. Like, so there's the traditional day where you go to a home, you pick up the bride and say her dad, you bring them to a church, you drive them to the venue, maybe a photo shoot location on the way, it drops them off, and that's the day. But not every day is structured that way. Like a lot of the time, like we would have,
particularly with the ceremony at a venue. Like,
that's what I was going with it. Yeah, so like we had one there recently where they were getting married in the venue, but she was getting ready in a separate venue, kind of say 10 minutes down the road. So she hired a car, and literally all the car had to do was drive her 10 minutes from this hotel to that hotel.
Yeah.
But in fairness, but the car driver has no problem then hanging around until the ceremony's over, so that the car is still there. And sometimes they might have loads of time, and they might go for, let's jump in and have a glass of champagne in the back and a little spin.
That's exactly
Or for photo opportunities in the venue, that the car is there in place, and you can at least take pictures with both bride and groom in the car. Or if it's two grooms or two brides, to take them for a spin if they were both getting ready at the venue. So I think some people kind of say, oh, we won't hire a car because sure, we're not doing a massive amount of travelling. Yes, the car is there for transport, but that's just one thing you can do with the car.
Oh, that's
the opportunities for video and photo, and just as you said, like for the guests to be able to actually they gather around and look at it.
Like, you always get people like getting the briefing on what the car is and the ins and outs of it. So like guests love it. Like
they love it.
Oh, they do love it. And you hit the nail on the head with that. Even though they might think, oh, we're only driving from the venue to the
I feel like it's wasted. It's never wasted.
It's never ever wasted. And that's the one thing I always try to highlight in any of the emails or any of the conversations I've had with people. You can utilise that car as much as you want on the day for whoever you want on the day. You know, so that's the beauty of it. So you're not. It's not. I shouldn't say this. That's a waste. It's not a waste, if that makes sense.
But that's how people sometimes they go, "What is it a waste of money? Am I going to get enough out of it?" There's so much you can get out of it.
So much.
And I find when there's a really nice vintage car hired on a wedding day, it becomes a focal point. Like as much as the couple do, the car is almost like in the limelight as much as they are, because it is something that you don't get to see up close very often. No. You especially don't get to open a door and maybe sit in and be like,
that's right,
have a look at the steering wheel and the dashboard, and the chats between the dads in the morning and the drivers are hilarious. Listen,
they've completely forgot that there's a wedding going on.
There going, but can you get your dad to put his suit on, would you? And it's outside, and they're nearly under the bonnet, and going, but stuff and the chats. But I must say as well, like, I mean, obviously the car is beautiful and the photo ops there, but it's the service that comes with it. Like, especially because we see Con a lot, and like he's such a gentleman when it comes to, like, he's all about, right, this is my job today, I'm going to drive them places, but he's like, you know, he's coming out to me and he's going, Laura, you know, I have the champagne and I have the picnic basket and I have the glasses. When will we do this? Will we get this photo op? And he's like, do you want to take a picture of it before I open it? He's amazing. Like, he wants to give them the best service.
Invested.
He's unreal.
So invested. He really is. And he honestly, and I also have to give a big shout out to our other driver, Tony, as well.
I think I've met Tony once before as well. I'm only saying Con because he's on the mind from 2 weeks ago.
He's our main honcho in the chauffeur-driven wedding.
Okay.
Right.
And poor Tony then gets pulled in to do chauffeur-driven as well, because he, ordinarily with Tony, he does a lot of our drop-offs and collections for the self-drive.
Okay.
So sometimes we're pulling people from every direction to do things, you know. So, but they're so good and they're so invested in people. They really are. And they want the best for them on their day, and that goes from the bride and groom right through the whole wedding party. It really does. Do you know?
No, you definitely appreciate that it is a wedding, it is a family day first and foremost, that the car is an add-on. Like, yes, you're doing an excellent service and it's an excellent car, but it's like, it's a people experience, and the lads like dealing with people. You like dealing with people.
Love it.
So you're going to help them out. And the same is, like you said to me, listen, if anything happens on the day, it's a phone call, it's sport, whether it's a question about what do we do with the car or whatever it is, it's like, you're actually, you're not the big conglomerate that's going to ignore people and just go, take the car and good luck to you. You're people, and you're
our
interested.
After service is just as important as that initial phone call. That's just to really highlight that to people. I'm all for that, and I would prefer to get those phone calls than to not get them. Do you know? Now,
because some people just don't ask the question, and they would say something to me on a wedding day, and I'm kind of going, "But did you check in?" They were like, "Oh, I didn't want to bother them." And you're kind of going, they would have had no problem doing that.
Yeah.
Like no problem at all.
No,
kind of thing.
and we don't.
Yeah.
And I always highlight that to people in our very last email before before they say the I do's. It's the last email. I'll check in a couple of days with them beforehand, and I'll say, listen, look, if you think of anything prior to your wedding day, or even if it's on the day, just please text, make a phone call. Maybe not on the wedding day, I know, because they're so busy taking up with everything else. But just generally knowing that we're there for them.
Okay.
You know, we're there as a support,
Yeah.
and that's a big thing. And just to highlight as well, I suppose with the chauffeur driven, you've got your driver with you on the day, so that's your security blanket. Then
and they're not just drivers; they're dress fixers.
They're all everything. You've
They're
no
champagne
idea.
uppers. They're like genuinely, they'd be there. They're great at the door because like I'm trying to like cue music, line up bridesmaids. There's a massive train. I'm trying to be here and also there. But when I know the lads are with me, I'm like, I'm just going to be here. We're going to line them up. You do a flick. He's like, I'm on it.
Yeah.
And they're great for it. Like, in fact, like it really above and beyond the job kind of.
Oh, it really is you know, because I suppose their main focus is making sure that their day goes as smoothly as all of us want. We're all there. We're all rooting for them to have an amazing day. Yeah. Do you know? And we genuinely mean that. I suppose I come from such a big family, and you know, a lot of my.
How big is your family?
Oh God! Well,
9 cats.
Yeah, 9 cats.
The dog was going nuts. The cats were hiding, and we were chatting, and you just let slip. Oh yeah, but I had 9.
I know. Oh,
it's incredible.
I'm having nightmares.
9 cats,
my grandfather
27
was
kids.
crazy. Like 9 cats. We did eventually get rid of the cats because the nail in the coffin was.
There was no room for the baby.
We came home one day, and my mother had our dinner on the table, and next thing, all of a sudden, there was these 9 cats on top of the table. Eating our dinner.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, listen, that's enough now.
That's the warning.
Out with the cats.
No. Especially with this quality of food. They shouldn't be allowed.
They got no sausage rolls anyway.
Yeah. But it's like coming from a big family, and it's like you're either a people person or you're not. I always joke like saying you'll clear off in this wedding game if you come in and think, oh, weddings be grand, and then it's after like about 10 weddings, you're either a people person or you're not, and you know full well whether you want to embrace that and be family orientated, and it definitely comes across both from yourself and the lads is like that you care that it's a family occasion.
We really care. We care as if they're our own, to be honest with you, because you know how important that day is. And I suppose I've been to lots of weddings over the years between friends and family, and I get so emotional. It's ridiculous.
He laughs at me as well, because in my own life, I'm the most hardcore. Like, as in, nothing will make me cry.
Yeah.
Like, he's crying, everyone's crying, and I'm like, that's fine. I go to somebody stranger's wedding. It's very emotional. It's lovely. It's lovely. Isn't that song gorgeous?
100%. And you're trying to hold it all together, like,
totally,
you know.
Yeah.
But I think there's sometimes it just hits you, and you just can't describe it, like, you know.
But it's such. I suppose if you think about it, it's such an unusual concept that, you know, obviously like weddings aren't an unusual concept, but you know, you propose, you get engaged, and then you could spend 2 to 3 years. Like, literally every single day you will think about this one day. You will plan for this one day, every minute of it. And it's the little details, and there's something little about a car hire, but it's those details when it comes to, you know you're getting this beautiful looking car and it's going to bring me from A to B. But then it's all the things that come along with it, and it's the service, and it's the positive vibes, and it's, you know, it really, I can't tell you how much it adds to the day.
It does, it really does.
Afterwards, you know, you'd be chatting to people like, you know, they say they've rang the bell for dinner and there's a few minutes, and you'd be kind of chatting to the couple and like, are you enjoying your day? Like, and if there's been a car on the day, like not just the groom but the bride as well will say kind of like, like we really the car was amazing. They'd be talking about the driver. It becomes a highlight and a talking point of the couple's day, like nearly every time. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And really it's lovely to hear that. Actually, I just got a text, funnily enough, from a girl this morning. We had been chatting. I don't know if she's even watching. But anyway, it's a shout out to her anyway, because she's not getting married until next month, but I didn't have any chauffeur driven options available for her, so I offered her the self-drive option instead of it was actually her that suggested it, because I thought, you know, sometimes
you don't want to force it on someone.
No, I never want to force it, but I will give them the option at the same time. And she sent a beautiful text saying, now her wedding is 25th of May. I should really check the diary. I know what date it is, by the way.
I know what's happening this week, Helen.
I know what's
that.
Yes, I know. But she was like, thank you so much for making this so much extra special for us. She was like, this is extra special, the fact that they're hiring
it's an extra
This
bonus,
car.
like that they weren't really planning this. Now they're
Yes.
getting a special car and it's self-driven, like it is now. It's an extra little thing that adds to the excitement to look forward to.
That is exactly it. And it was just so lovely reading the text. And I honest to God, reading those texts sometimes, people don't, it does, it really does, you know.
Yeah. And we haven't even mentioned ice cream carts or the Prosecco trucks. But before we do, I want to give a shout out. So in case, so chauffeur options are kind of like Bentleys, the Daimler, the Jaguar, the VW bus. Is it the VW bus? You have that?
Yeah, VW
Brilliant.
bus. So we
You
have.
haven't come across your VW yet?
No, you haven't.
Is
it
it
hasn't
new?
been on the road.
Okay,
yet.
so she's fresh on the website, is
She's
she?
fresh on the website, but we have our first. We just need to. It is on the website, but of course we don't have any weddings, so we don't have any photographs yet to kind of build on, if that makes sense. So
I will send you loads if you come across her. I will send you loads. Don't worry.
So our first wedding is actually on the 13th of June. Actually, the lady that helps us out with our ice cream bike, it's her son that's getting married. And
it's going to go out for a spin then.
it's going for its
maiden
first
voyage.
Yeah,
Is it?
that's her maiden voyage. And then we haven't taken a huge amount of it yet because it's not out there as such. But this was something we wanted to add in from the very beginning.
It's a popular option.
Very popular option.
Yeah.
This was kind of on the backdrop of Leon himself when he got married.
Yeah.
Leon, I can't remember, sorry, however many years ago.
In the past.
In the past.
Yeah.
He had a VW bus, but they actually got the VW bus back from Brazil and they completely restored it.
Oh, stop.
And they sold it. But
I feel like I've had this conversation in person.
Oh, people do know, but a lot of lads coming back, say, from Australia now, and they've been there for 10 or 15 years. They actually kind of like, they looked at the cost of shipping it back versus what it was worth was. But like one of the lads, I remember, they were like, it was as cheap to get a shipping container and wait 6 months for it to show up as it was to what I would have got back out of it. So, and he put so much effort into restoring it in Australia that they ship it back. So we're hearing more of these buses showing up, but they are still so rare as well at the same time.
So rare. But we got this particular one now and there wasn't much to be done to her at all. And honestly, it's just so beautiful. I can't wait to decorate it.
Brilliant.
But anyway.
And it can probably carry, what is it, like 4 or 6 people maybe can get in the back of it, or how many can it carry?
We can take 6 in the back and then there's another 2 seats in the front. So it can take 9, including the driver.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
so like if there was, say, if it was doing, say, a bridal party, so in the morning it could go do a spin, but then after the church, it could take like 6 plus. Maybe they can work it out.
But even in the morning, bridesmaids, mom, dad, bride, all in. Yeah,
again,
if you're going to a church.
Anybody wish. And a lot of the times, if the venue isn't too far from the church, we'll say it's a 5 or 10 minute spin. It gives you more opportunity to go back and collect more people and take them.
The round trip.
Watch out for a round trip. But you're right, if it's small, but you've got to time them. Laura's obsessed with timing.
Oh, yeah. We would be too as well, because I suppose you have to allow for traffic and all that sort of thing.
And that's one thing, actually, briefly, is the lads like to show up early. If you laugh at the car, because like you're saying, the dads are talking about the car.
I'm in the morning and they're looking at the window going, oh, the car's here, oh my God, what time is it? We're so far behind. I'm like, calm down. They're always crazy early because they want to be here as a just in case.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
No, it's a good thing.
It's
a good people at ease. The car is here. So I know that I can get to my destination.
It's one of the things that we like to stress to couples. The one thing. So when they make the initial booking, we send them what's called a booking confirmation, and it's just so all the information is completely transparent between us, the couple, and the driver.
Sure.
So this booking confirmation has been printed off left, right, and
last
centre.
thing you want is
this
driver
one's mine. That one's yours. This one, you know. So the communication is open at all times. So it has the bride and groom, the pickup location, the church, the venue, all of this. And we always say to them, we always like to be there at least 45 minutes to an hour before the ceremony. The reason for that is you can never factor in traffic, roadworks.
That's it,
There's numerous things on, and the last thing you want to do is be late for any bride on the day. You know,
it's a stress that you don't need before you walk out the door.
Just put some at ease.
I'm looking forward to seeing the VW. There you go. We might see it this year. You never know.
Please God.
You never know.
Brilliant. And then from the VW bus to the Prosecco truck.
Yeah.
You'd be smashed if you drank all these drinks.
You would.
Have you seen the list of
I'd love to be at a wedding where I'm just
Prosecco's,
drinking our
mulled
Prosecco.
wine, espresso martinis, porn star martinos, Hugo's, strawberry daiquiris. There's endless options there.
Oh, sorry. So this is like a cocktail truck.
This is not a Prosecco truck. This is a cocktail bar.
Why have I not seen this yet?
This is Tom Cruise. We just need an expert in that area. So do you know what? Again, we were always adding and coming up with different ideas for the business.
Yeah.
And so the Prosecco truck and the ice cream bike was only added last year, 23.
Okay.
January 23.
Yeah.
So again, because of the boys with their knowledge in restoration, we took a Prosecco van in and we took an ice cream bike in, completely restored it.
Brilliant.
Wow.
And now it's branded Pristine Classics Occasions. So that's we have that out on the road now too as well.
That's
so
amazing.
we have the Prosecco van, but we can also transport it or transform it into like a cocktail of your choice.
Okay.
Cool. So there's a few options. Like
there's
if
a few
people are
options.
like, I don't want to really kind of nail myself down to this, there's a few options.
There's
So
a few options.
Do you pick your signature drinks kind of thing, or
You
is it a menu, or like how does it work?
So if you go on the website, you're
Yeah.
looking at the website, you're saying, so standard Prosecco.
Sure.
Yeah. So it depends on your numbers, or anything from 40. We can cater for any amount of number.
Sure.
And then we just thought, why don't we just add the cocktails in as well?
Yeah.
Why
Just get a
not?
cocktail bar going.
Yeah.
I love it.
Most people.
I love this. Helen's like, we
Yeah.
just throw a cocktail menu together and we'll bring that to the menu. I love this.
But it was just like,
And can you have this outside the church?
oh, you can. Oh, you can. We actually, so we done.
People going around outside the church with
We had
the
honestly.
4-star martinis.
The first one we done, of course, you know yourself, the first of everything that you do, you're always nervous because you want everything to be perfect. And I remember it was a mother that had contacted me, and she wanted it for her daughter because it was their signature cocktail that they would always have on
very good.
holidays.
Nice. Okay.
So, they were so much fun to deal with. And that's what we were about. We love the fun element of it. So obviously when somebody books not obviously, but when somebody wants a Prosecco van or they want cocktails outside a church or the wedding, they have to make sure that their churches.
And see where it is.
So that's a big thing because we don't know how certain people might feel about it on the day.
Yeah, no.
Normally, if there's a big car park, they don't mind you going down the back of it.
Over there.
Although I must say we were directly outside at the front of one particular church and it was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
The priest got involved in everything. It was
Churches
amazing.
to churches, the rules are like there's no one rule when it comes to what you can do in a church. It varies between the hundreds of them across Ireland. It's completely different.
It's completely different, but most of them are generally fine.
No, they're far more kind of the pre-saved community. And if somebody was to say, if Jaeger bombs were their choice, would you be say no to them? Because see this wee lad down here, Jaeger bombs was their signature kind of drink on night out, right?
Really? I love it.
They were mad.
No wedding cake, Jaeger bombs for everybody instead. So instead of a cake table, there was a Jaeger bomb table.
I should have been invited to that wedding.
It was an epic wedding.
Also, he's mad into car restoration. He converted, you know, the only fools and horses yellow little three-wheeler.
I
He converted one of those.
That was that wedding.
I saw it.
And they opened the
it.
boot to them outside the church, and in the like there was just like boxes and boxes of like whiskey, and it was hilarious outside the church. It really was. It was one of the best days.
And I must say, like that was so much fun, and kind of those little surprises of when you come out and there is kind of like a drink that you didn't expect, even if it's tea or coffee, people are excited. But if you get something bold, like anything off this, people love it, and it softens up the day. It's a bit of fun.
It does, and people add their own element of quirkiness to their own day, whether that's a cocktail or whether it's tea and coffee, whatever. Like now, I suppose the Prosecco has a tendency to be the most popular because maybe people are a bit kind of shying away from the cocktail sometimes. Although we did do it recently for a day 2 of a wedding in Killarney, and their theme was Jersey Day.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so their signature cocktail was Sex on the Beach, and
it's actually a great idea for a day.
Well, there you go. Like people automatically think of the day one. So something like that, which is far more bold and more fun, could actually be the second day.
And we have got a good few inquiries actually this year for a lot of day twos.
Because day twos are becoming huge. Like they're not just a little get together and a cocktail sausage in a bar somewhere anymore. They're a whole like event again.
Oh, a complete whole event. So we don't. So we can do the day twos if people want us for day twos as well.
It's a great idea for a day two. Yeah.
So pick your signature cocktail. I suppose we have two taps, so it can take up to 2 kegs.
Okay.
Cool.
So if you want 2 cocktails, you can, or if you want a cocktail and prosecco.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you're picking 2. Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
So
and then the ice cream bike is another one. So what's the crack with that? And again, there's endless like vanilla, vegan, vanilla, chocolate. What do you call? I was just there. Yeah.
I should have brought the ice cream to complement the sausage rolls.
He doesn't need any
Millionaire shortbread. Oh yeah. Bubblegum. Salted caramel.
Oh yeah, no. But people love an ice cream van at a wedding. Like the poor children be like literally batted out of the way by the adults to get to the ice cream vans.
It's brilliant. And do you know what it is? It just adds that, I always feel it adds an element of fun outside the church.
100%.
And it completely breaks the ice if people are nervous. Because you know yourself, there can be a lot of
chatting.
Yeah, and it's just a great...
But it opens up conversation between strangers.
100%.
Just standing in a queue for an ice cream van and you're like chatting to this guest. How do you know them? How do you know them? Where are you from? Yeah.
It's the endless conversations you can have with people. And there was one particular wedding we were at last year, and honest to God, we were outside the church and the father's groom, because we have a speaker as well.
Okay.
So I'll say to couples, is there any particular music that you want to play on the day? If you want to send it over to me, I can pop it on. So they can have their own playlist as well.
Love it.
So we have the playlist going as people are coming out to the church. So oftentimes you'll end up dancing with people outside the church after
These are
service.
moments where they're not really planned.
No.
And I think from guests, because a lot of guests do end up, especially when you're a certain age group or you're in teams and things like that, you're endlessly going to weddings. And you feel like, it's the same kind of running. And it has to have a similar structure. But when there's something thrown in, like you walk out of a church and there's an ice cream van with a playlist going, like you're not expecting to see it.
No.
And then you're giving people a little bit of sugar.
Yeah.
And they're delighted. Yeah, no, they are completely.
It is. It's brilliant. And honestly, we love it. So I'll often go out and do a lot of those because it's my opportunity to meet people.
See you now there with the ice cream having a chat, Helen. I really can. Delighted
but it's brilliant, and you meet so many different people from all walks of life, and as you say, it's that connection then, so and they're interested and they're like, where'd you get the bike? Oh my God, this is amazing. Can I sit on there? Can I take some pictures? It's just, it's just the element of fun.
So do you cycle the bike up the road then, depending on
there is a little video of me recently cycling the bike. Now the legs are a bit stiff, so I don't know how I manage that one. So you can actually cycle it, but it's a little bit of a tough one to maneuver,
Stop.
But
So you can do that obviously outside your ceremony venue, if it's separate to your reception venue, but you could also have it at the reception venue as well. And if it's a case of so obviously weather is a thing in Ireland, and you do obviously you see a lot more of the ice cream bikes and stuff around in the summer because ice cream and summer just tends to go together. But if and obviously the plan is out in the gardens, outside the church, having an ice cream. But if it goes against, is this something that you can bring inside to set up kind of in an indoor? If every venue has different space.
Of course they do.
But you can organise it so that the day, if it does go against, it's a bit wet. That you can still use it.
You can still use it. So what we have a tendency to do is we'll monitor the weather a couple of days beforehand. Sure. If we feel that we'll kind of if there's a little bit of a break, if the weather does happen to be bad, because look, face it, I suppose we are in Ireland, so we never know what way the weather's going.
The last 2 years, it's just that there's been no structure to the weather at all.
No structure at all. Yeah. So we'll have a tendency to kind of monitor that a day or so beforehand. Sure. But if we feel the weather isn't going to work in our favour and it's torrential rain, what we'll suggest to the couple, or sometimes they'll often say it themselves without me even saying anything, is can we bring it to the reception?
Okay.
So that's something we can do.
Just move it from the ceremony area to church area to
more often than not, we'll know 24 hours in advance as to whether it's possible for us to have it there or not. Now, if it's little trinkle rain, we can deal with it and we can put it in like a sheltered area.
Sure.
But I would say 95% of people booking the ice cream bike, they will have it outside the church. Yeah. I feel sometimes it might get a little bit lost at the reception because people are going in different directions.
And they've got their drinks and food that
They
they're putting
have
on for people as well. Yeah.
Whereas you come directly outside the church, it's the first
it's a
thing you
focal point,
see. It's a focal point, and everyone goes for it.
But if you're having your full day, say in your venue, that your sermon and everything is all in one place, then you can have it there as well. Same
you
idea.
can. Same idea.
Okay. Brilliant. No, I love that.
And one thing I must say, because we were talking about it, and I think it was Niamh, we were laughing because Niamh was like, we'll be putting that hood back up to drive across. But we were talking about this on the phone. You were saying people would actually be surprised at how much cover or shelter they get. So it's a lot of the cars are drop tops, as they say in America, the convertible cars, and they can put the roof down and feel the whole air.
Take it off. This one comes off.
Completely.
We did take it off.
That's okay. You're allowed to do that. Okay. Laura, anytime you want to do that,
I was
please feel free.
There's no one watching. Let's take this roof off.
but he was giving the briefing as to how to do it. But then also like the shelter and the cover. So like you're not going to be totally blown out of it in terms of your hair and makeup and just in general.
Because you're so, it's so deceiving, and I suppose maybe I didn't highlight it to couples enough that when you're actually sitting into the car, because I guess 99% of the time it's normally
people are going to err on the caution as well. Like they're just going to be like, oh, I'm not going to risk it, but so that they are aware of it is like.
You don't have to have a perfect day to put the hood down. Okay.
You absolutely don't. Yeah. We have done weddings in October and November time where couples have had the opportunity to have the roof down.
Wow.
Like you wouldn't, like you'd
say. You don't expect it,
Statistically, what are the chances of having that?
I know,
but like they have had the opportunity to have the roof down, and it doesn't take away from the experience if the roof has to be up, because aesthetically it still looks the same.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's just, even if you have a small little window frame, you know yourself, even that 5 or 10 minutes to have the roof down is everything.
It's
sure, we did most of the photo shoot with the roof up,
and
then himself said that he knew how to.
Because I didn't want to like dismantle the car either, you know, because when you're like, except each of the driver around, you'd be like, can we take this off? And they'll say yes, great, or they'll go, actually no, don't, it's faulty. But no, the groom knew, so it was great.
It came up that the roof could come off, and then sure we went for it. So it looked great with the roof on, as well as then it's totally unique, whereby now it's a completely different photograph. Now the roof's off.
You'll still get amazing either on or off. But I always say try and find that 10 minutes in the day just to take the roof off, even just to get those quick snapshots. If the weather is not working in your favour,
or just even to experience it. Like who gets to drive around in a convertible? We just don't.
No, and it looked amazing. The roof off, the couple there a couple of weeks ago, and you had the mountains and the lakes in the background, and it was just amazing.
It kind of gives you the goosebumps every time I see the pictures, because I've seen a lot now at this point, because I suppose that particular car has been out quite a bit.
Okay.
And you think you've seen everything now at this stage.
I know,
but
you
never
haven't.
You never do.
Yeah. It's what keeps this job really interesting, because every day is totally different.
Totally
it really
different.
Is. Yeah.
And actually, just going back to the roof on and off. Again, with the test drive that they do on the day, so all that is demonstrated to them as well, how to take the roof on and off.
So trying to work out where the clip is, because this is way back. These are like cars that are 50, 60, 70 years old, whatever it is, and it's kind of like the technology or the clever way that they found that we'll put a clip here so that it kind of like it breaks the wind or whatever, or it doesn't impact on the wind. It's really clever. So you look at it and go, am I allowed to move that in that direction? So it's really good that the lads get a briefing on how to kind of operate it, or kind of where it is, and it's okay to. I think there was something like you can open the boot and it just slipped right in. Whatever it was, say like the skeleton of it, the kind of the metal frame that collapsed really neatly in that. But things like that, you don't want to, like the logistics of a day, whether it's timing or figuring out how to do something. You don't want to be trying to wing it on the day and trying to work out
or if it was a small thing that none of us knew was there and you can't take it off, and it's silly because it was actually a very easy thing to do, just no one knew where it was kind of thing. But to have the knowledge is amazing.
It
is.
So
you're very good. So you actually kind of give the lads kind of a rundown of all the things in the car.
So the boys will do that part.
Helen just stands in the background, cheering them on.
See, I'd be confident with some cars how to take the roof out. There's a little bit more intricateness and maybe one or two of them that I'm like, I mightn't be strong enough to, do certain things. But so the boys will often demonstrate that, and it's no time out of their day. And just to mention as well, if anybody wanted to come in on a Saturday or a Sunday, because we do appreciate people work are working a lot Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
So it's outside there's
Okay.
I suppose it's outside of their power really to come into the office during the week.
And they can't take anyone on your leave.
They've a wedding to pay for.
Yeah, exactly.
And a honeymoon to go on.
Exactly.
But they can come into you on a Saturday, Sunday, is
so
it?
I'll
what's the story?
often facilitate people if they want to come in on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Sure.
Now I'm very casually dressed, so you know,
So this
there
is
won't
kind
be
of
no
like
high-powered suit or
That doesn't
anything like that
matter.
on a
Is this a
Saturday or Sunday.
pre-check-in? If they organise it with you, you'll meet them. Is
Yes,
this? Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
I can meet them.
Okay.
So if they say, listen, because a lot of times we've couples travelling from not just Kerry but Cork, Limerick, Tipperary, and they'll say, listen, look, we happen to be down in Kerry this particular day.
Yeah.
Is it possible to pop in? The answer is yes.
Okay.
Given that I
Yeah,
don't have
give or
anything
take,
else on that
yeah.
weekend,
Sure.
but more often
Bit
than
of
not.
notice,
it is,
bit of notice,
It's
yeah,
a little bit of
yeah.
notice, but we can facilitate on a Saturday or Sunday.
Okay.
I'm only 10 minutes from the office, so it's a quick drive back the road for me.
That's great. That's good to know, and I think that kind of highlights as well. Again, you get it's a wedding, you get it's a family day. It's all about the service.
Yeah.
It's like it's beyond just the physical wow factor of the car. There's service on top of it and support there.
And that's important because I suppose I felt myself in the past, you know, especially when you're working yourself, do you know, even doing something as simple as going to the bank or I don't know.
Oh, there's not enough hours in the day for anything like that. It's just constantly chasing your tail.
So that's why I felt, you know, the need to actually just express that we are around on a Saturday or a Sunday if you do need us.
Yeah.
You know, as long as we're given a little bit of notice, we'll always try and facilitate.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And what area then do you cover, like for the hiring of the cars? Is it is there a certain area from your base that you would cover, or how far would you go?
So we can cover nationwide.
You can,
but
okay.
I suppose for most of our customers,
Sure.
They're kind of based within the Munster region.
Okay.
Because I suppose it's more viable for them and it's more kind of affordable for them.
It makes sense when people are searching for venues in Munster that they search for cars in Munster.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we'll always try and facilitate the drop-off and collection if it's required by the couple. And I suppose just to mention, because when we do the drop-off and collection, there's a driver required and it's transported on one of our trucks.
Okay.
So when the car comes to you, it's completely immaculate. It's not driven on the road.
Oh, okay.
It's ribboned and everything for you.
Shiny and ready.
So that's another element actually that people kind of love. So they'll arrive to the bride's house or the groom's house the morning at the wedding, and all of a sudden you have this car coming off a lorry.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like, oh my God, this is just a
big day.
Like,
Big
it
event.
is a big,
Yeah.
It just adds to the excitement of it too.
And
as
actually,
well.
I know it seems like a very small detail, but mentioning the ribbons, because the amount of conversation that goes on about ribbons are hilarious in general when it comes to putting on cars. But like as you said, it arrives immaculately clean, ribboned. So the amount of days though that people are in the house and they're flustering around the place like with ribbons, and I'm kind of going, they'll have it done unless this is for your own family car, that work away, but they'll have it done and they're like, oh, will they? And I was like, they don't expect you to go out and ribbon the car once they've arrived. Like it's done for you.
You're not hiring a taxi, like this is a different ball game.
So I know that sounds really, really simple, but this is actually what goes on pre-arriving.
Yeah, and you have no idea the amount of times that people will say that. And is the car ribboned, or do I need to get ribboned? And another thing to mention, although it will come ribboned, we also leave a little bit extra in the boot, just in case. Something, you know,
I didn't know that.
So we leave extra ribbon in the boot of the car and a scissors with it, just in case they need any extra on the day as well.
There you go. Brilliant.
Small little things.
The details.
And an umbrella. Do you want to mention the umbrella?
I know, but listen, sure. It's lovely for the photos.
Yeah,
Throw
it
an
is.
umbrella.
Yeah.
Be lovely. Be lovely.
Showing off the sign and the logo.
Get it in all the wedding photos.
I'm photoshopping it. No, I was joking.
Brilliant.
But Helen, thanks so much for coming in and
Thank you
sharing
for
so
having
much.
me. Sure, I loved it.
Yeah, but you're very
stay
good now for
chatting for
coming
the day.
down.
That's
I know
it.
you would. I do think we need to swap jobs.
I know, I
after
think
this,
so too as well.
I need this
I
in
feel
my
that this is
wardrobe.
a little bit out there now today, but
No. Like,
I said I had to dress appropriately for the occasion, you know.
colourful, fun. You gotta have a bit of fun with it. But no, thanks so much for coming down. And everybody does actually if you're considering a vintage car or any type of car, self-drive, chauffeur-driven, and you're not too sure about like, well, do I need one on my day? As we covered in this, there's no day too small that you don't need a nice car to kind of
True.
create some nice
Yeah.
photo ops and a nice conversation starter for the guests.
Yeah, it is.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
and
gives
don't
them
forget about
idea.
the Prosecco and the cocktails and the ice cream.
100%.
This also has to go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're the lady behind the admin side of things to help
Yes.
people out. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
There's a face to the emails.
There's a face to the emails.
Yeah.
You won't always see me behind the wheel of the car, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Thankfully, maybe.
But thanks very much, Helen.
Thank you for having me.